Welcome to Speakernomics, the official podcast of the National Speakers Association. I'm Kenneth Kinney, but friends call me Shark. And like you, I'm a professional speaker and I love listening to Speakernomics. Speakernomics is a professional speaker show that will help you thrive and grow a speaking business so you too can change the world. One keynote session workshop and speech at a time. And on this episode, we welcome Ed Rigsbee. He's a 35-year member of NSA. He holds the Certified Association Executive Credential, and he's also a CSP. And since the mid-90s, he's presented to most of the NSA and CAPS chapters and many national speakers organizations outside the U.S. on selling to associations. He's a 15-year CEO member of the American Society of Association Executives. He's founded and run a weekly Zoom Association CEO Mastermind. He's the co-founder of Association and Society Speakers Community that publishes conversations with association executives that hire speakers. And he's a 25-year nonprofit executive director and the co-founder of Cigar PEG, a community of professional speakers that's raised nearly $1 million for charitable causes. And he's the co-author of Booked, the Insider's Guide for Speakers Selling to Associations. So Ed, welcome to Speakernomics. Impressive credentials. How are you today?
Thank you, Shark. Yeah, my credentials and $5 will get you coffee at Starbucks.
Well, we brought the right person to talk about associations. And to all my speaking friends, are associations truly part of your strategy? The math's different. The problems are subtly different than corporate, but it's great showcase, not to just one event at one corporate, but to decision makers at a lot of corporations. And it's a great showcase for speakers. And before we jump in, make sure to go to speakernomics.com. That's where you can find the tips, insights, and knowledge to help you become a better speaker, build a better business, and get paid to speak. All right, Ed, let's dive in. Why should we speak at associations, especially when you think of the revenue models? There's some difference. Is it better to sell to them, easier? Sort of what's the why?
Okay, there was a couple of things. Number one, whether the economy is good or bad, associations have to have meetings or they lose their members. Corporations don't have to have meetings. It's optional. So just that right there is a good reason because you have a certain amount of stability over the years. The other important thing, I think, is if you want to get corporate business, well, where are the business leader decision makers? They're at their annual association meetings. And so when you speak at an association meeting, it's kind of like being paid to showcase in front of people that can hire you. If you do a great job and you sprinkle in a couple of the right things, talking about this, that, and the other that you do, give them the idea that they should hire you to come into their organization. It's a wonderful thing in the respect that, as I said a minute ago, they have to have their meetings, number one. Number two, it's a paid showcase. And then number three, a lot of the associations pay a lot more than speakers think. And in my interviews with decision makers, for keynotes, most of the associations are paying in the range of $7,500 to about $20,000 for keynotes.
When you started thinking about the revenue model, I think typically a lot of people think that an association will always pay half the fee, half of your normal fee, or they're somewhere around what for a lot of people is half a fee. Their budget may cap at 7,500 pineapples versus your normal speaking fee of 15,000, for example, just throwing out a number. How should somebody think about how to position themselves to sell for what people want, which is that, in this case, 15,000 pineapples?
Well, one thing that I recommend to people is have a corporate fee and have a nonprofit fee. And whatever your corporate fee is, I'm not going to get into that, but whatever it is, have your association, your nonprofit fee, half, because you're probably going to negotiate anyway. Even if you look, I've been watching just the last couple of weeks on CSP link and the numbers and like bureau people saying, hey, I'm looking for somebody to do X at this fee or that fee. And the fees are all over the place. The days of, quote, fee integrity, which the bureaus pushed for years, are gone. You see most of the people in the speaking world, this whole fee integrity nonsense is a little bit crazy. If you're 95% booked with bureaus, okay, fine, then go for that. But for the rest of us mere mortals, We look at the idea that fees are all over the place. And so have a corporate fee and have a nonprofit fee. And when you have your nonprofit fee half, the conversation goes right into when they talk about fees, go, yeah, you just said my corporate fee is X and my nonprofit fee is half of that, Y. And that stops right there, all the different negotiations. And because you've already given a 50% discount. And when you think about it, even if you're only getting 50% of your corporate fee to speak at associations, and you're speaking in front of people that can hire you, I mean, come on. I mean, wake up. Isn't this the smartest thing in the world to do? Because then when you go into those companies, well, and you quote your fee, you quote your corporate fee. So I think that some people are a little bit afraid of associations because they don't understand it. And the other thing, Shark, is a lot of people, they call 3 associations and maybe they don't get the response they want. They go, oh, that's no good. That's not my market. Well, you need to call a lot more than 3. You need to call, 300 before you can even get an idea of what's going on. And, as I said, I'm interviewing these CEOs all the time. I know what they're paid, and they're paying good money for us. A couple weeks ago, I was going through the Virtual Speakers Hall of Fame directory and talking to an association CEO about the various speakers and go, okay, here's this speaker, this is what they speak on. What are their fees? It's approximately this, it's approximately that. I mean, I'm not taking a piece of it or any money. It's just to help an association CEO look at people. And there you go. So I think that there's an awful lot in this business. Look at Shark, in the 35 years since I joined NSA, this business has changed. I mean, dramatically. Not a little bit, dramatically. Who we let in NSA has changed dramatically. What are the qualifications to get in NSA? Dramatic change. What's the price to be an NSA member? Dramatic change. So, the whole world of speaking is so different than when I first got into it. And even our association is so different than when I first got into it. Not going to say better or worse, just different.
Well, the one thing I will say that I like, especially about associations, whenever I worked at them for their events, their national events are always generally in better places. It's the fun places like Vegas or somewhere in Florida. It's not like anybody's going to have the major draw to Bismarck, North Dakota in February. That's one plus, at least, if anything. But how do you go about then positioning yourself as a speaker, a credibility standpoint, from a positioning standpoint, so that you're seen as that expert to associations?
Let me answer that in just one sec, but let me first tell you, when you brought up location, my most favorite thing over the years to do is to tell associations, and I have it on my website, that let me come to your meeting and be your one speaker to do your keynote, your MC, and all your breakouts. And I would just charge double whatever my association keynote fee was. And where would those trade associations meetings be? Puerto Rico,
Yeah, Hawaii, yeah.
St. Thomas. And yeah, it really is terrible to have to go to St. Thomas for 5 days or 4
Exactly.
days. And so I would just say that's one thing to consider. Now, your question about positioning. In Booked, and probably a lot of people watching this will have a copy of that. There is a graphic in there that looks like a parachute, and basically what I talk about, and I've been showing this graphic for years and years and years, is let's put on all that strings of the parachute. Let's put all the things you do, and then let's look at the canopy of the parachute and ask ourselves, what is our real topic? Is it productivity? Is it leadership? Is it this? Is it that? And I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to tell people what their topic is, but to look closer at all the things you do and the topic that you put yourself out there for. Let's make sure that really is your overall topic, because all of those things that you list on the strings of the parachute support why that should be a topic. Then in that graphic, there's a little canopy on the top of the parachute, which it's like, okay, let's say I know of about 5,432 speakers in the United States that speak on leadership. That's, kind of a bunch. Now, how do I separate myself out from that other 5,000 as being unique, special, better on that topic? That's what a lot of speakers have a problem with. What is their unique approach? Not, I'm kind of like this person, I'm kind of like that person. Nobody wants a kind of like. People want, why are you different, better, special? Why are you a thought leader on X, Y, and Z? Yes, you should have books on that. Yes, you should have a LinkedIn newsletter on that. Yes, you should have a LinkedIn company page that you can have the newsletter and constantly be putting out. The thing that we have to do is over the years, Shark, I've done lots and lots of workshops, 2-day workshops with speakers. And the thing that I constantly see is positioning is their Achilles heel. I mean, they might have a cute brand and pretty pictures and pretty fonts and all that, but positioning themselves as an expert and a thought leader, and usually we want to not say expert, but subject matter expert. In the association world, SME, subject matter expert, it's a term they know quite well. And they're looking for, who we are. The other thing in the positioning, I'm going to kind of go into a little bit different topic, but it's going to relate to this. If you're going to start going after associations, pick an industry and go deep. Don't play shotgun or spray and pray and just go all over. Pick an industry and go deep. Then all the work you do within that industry feeds into your positioning strategy and your brand and your thought matter expertise, because the different associations in that industry keep seeing your articles pop up in different magazines because they all go to each other's meetings. They all share each other's newsletters. And if you just scatter, spray and pray, then it's very, very hard for people to see you frequently, because as Patricia Fripp has been preaching in NSA since 1980, whatever, they don't buy you till they've seen you, 10 or 12 times. And so that's what we want to do. What industry do you most resonate with? Go deep in that industry first, get really known. And then when you've done all the prospecting you can, go to the next and the next and the next. That will create a situation, and it's in the book, that'll create a situation where people in that industry will start seeing you as a subject matter expert and a thought leader.
Great advice. So give us some tactical tips then on how people should sell their way into these associations once they've established themselves as a expert in that industry vertical. Do you do more from outreach by phone, email newsletters, books you mentioned as well, but there's at that point where you got to start reaching out to the association executives, throwing an event.
Shark, I did a workshop for NSA in the spring of this year, and pretty much went through my model in that hour workshop. The thing that I said then, and I'll say the same thing now, and I say it in all my workshops: why not go in the back door? Why not in selling? Do we want to go beat ourselves up against the brick wall, or do we want to find the soft underbelly? And I've always said, in selling to associations, go in the back door. Go to the editor. Take your articles. Make a relationship bank deposit with the editor by giving them their articles on your website. A lot of people on there, they have a WordPress website, and all of their content is under blog. Go get your webmaster to change that blog to article bank. Just sounds better. Sounds more impressive. And within that article bank, make sure that the title of all your articles has a word count, so editors can look at it. They can grab your stuff. Also, make sure that you have permission to reprint there. I mean, if anybody wants that, just go to Rigsbee.com, click on articles, and just steal my copy on permission to reprint. Just change your name. I mean, you're more than welcome to it. And so think of it this way: I I call up an editor, and it's easier to get through to an editor on the phone than an executive director. So I call the editor. Now, before I do that, I'm going to use something new. We have ChatGPT now, which we didn't have a couple years ago. And I'm going to do a quick look. What are the problems that the people in that industry are dealing with? And chat, just say, 5 or 10 from ChatGPT. And it takes, 30 seconds, a minute? And then before I talk to the editor, I'm going to do that. And then when I talk to the editor, I go, I understand in your industry, your members are dealing with A, B, C, D. And I've got a number of articles that solve A, B, C, D. I'd like to make those available to you. My articles range from 500 words to 3,200 words. I have permission to reprint on my website, and I have permission for reasonable edit. And they go, well, what does that mean? And I go, I really don't know. It means whatever you want it to mean. And the thing is, I want to be the easiest guy in the world. Now, yes, I want to get my articles published, but that's not the game. So I want to stop here and make sure everybody hears it. Yes, I want to get my articles published, but that's not the game. The game is making the relationship bank deposit with the editor, letting them know that you have the articles available that will solve their members' problems. Then, after you've made that relationship bank deposit, right before you hang up, the old Columbo close and the old doorknob close. Now that their guard is down, go, oh, by the way, before I let you go, quick question. Go, what's that? And go, could you tell me, please, who it is that is the decision maker in your organization for selecting speakers? A lot of times they'll say, well, John Jones is our meeting planner. And then I go, oh, awesome. But let me just ask you one more thing. Is John Jones the logistics person? Or is John Jones the decision maker for selecting speakers? And a lot of times, actually, Susie, whatever, our executive director makes the decisions. Oh, Susie makes the decisions. Would you do me a favor and just, I appreciate your time. And would you just transfer me over so I can say hello? Well, right there, think about it. If you try to come in through the switchboard to get to the executive director, it ain't going to happen. But if you go in the back door through the editor, a transfer from the editor, you got a much better chance. And whether you get this person live or you get their voicemail, have a script for each. And the basic script is, hi, I was just talking to so-and-so, your editor made a number of my articles available. I usually like to say adapted from my book titled ABC. And we were talking about the problems your members are dealing with, yada, 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 1, 2, 3. I just wanted to see if there are other challenges and ask you a question about how does one get considered as a speaker? How does one throw their hat in? And then if it's voicemail, you say either I will call you back tomorrow, or if you're going to send an email, say I'll send you an email and we can connect with. But if you get the person live, when you ask the question, how do you go about, being considered? Here's where speakers blow it. They keep talking. In sales, what do? You shut the you-know-what up, and they're going to tell you how to sell to them. And here's one of the things. When all of the CEOs that I've interviewed in the last couple of years, one of the things I always ask them the last thing, what drives you crazy with speakers? Well, I tell a speaker to call me back in 6 weeks and they start calling me back weekly. I go, yeah, that would tick me off too. And so the speaker has to be smart enough to shut up and listen. That's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen to what they tell you, take notes, and follow it to a T. If they say call back in 6 weeks, call back in 6 weeks. They say call back in 2 years, call back in 2 years. It just understand. And every association's got a different lead time for selecting speakers. There was just something on NSA's Facebook, NSA member only Facebook page today about, there's still time this year to book speakers. Well, for associations, the fall is a very, very busy time to have meetings. And a lot of the medium and smaller associations, their lead time for selecting speakers is pretty short. Large associations, their lead time's a year. So, that's why, I always say, when people, I called 3 associations, it's not going to work for me. Call 300 and come and talk to me.
Great points. So one of the things I want to also talk about is the value of the state associations versus the national associations, because a lot of people are only going to add or they're only going to aim for that big event in Hawaii as opposed to the annual event in North Dakota. No
Yeah,
offense to anybody in North Dakota, but
yeah.
it's too damn cold and you don't have palm trees there.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a really important question that you asked, and here's the thing. When I tell people to go deep in an industry, what I say is call every national association in that industry. And when you're on the website, don't stop at their annual meeting. Go to their events page, and a lot of associations will have 4, 5, 6, 8 events in the year. Also, the meetings department has a different budget than the education department, and the education department pays for webinars, so forth and so on. Now, the cool thing with the state associations, okay, you've got the National Association, okay, that's one potential client, but what about the state associations? That's 40, 50 potential clients. And when I say go deep in an industry, it might take you an entire year to market to that industry, because people forget about the National Association going out to the states and also the allied associations. I think the state associations are a wonderful place for speakers to put energy into, because the NSA members, except for the few gods that we have in our organization, the rest of us mortals, we've got a really, really good chance of getting the state association keynote. They do have a budget, so that we're good there. And after you've done one state association, then you leverage that into other state associations and leverage it toward the national association. Yeah, I'm fully, behind state associations. And we're talking about state associations. Don't forget, everybody should look into the state societies of association executives. Almost all the states have them. Now, this is a spray and pray strategy, I understand. But if you get to go speak at, what state are you in, Chuck?
I'm in Tennessee.
In Tennessee. Where's that? Is that in the United States?
Yes, there's life outside of California, and so
I'm trying to think. Pretty close to you. You got to go up Ohio and down over to Florida and Georgia and Texas and even Alabama. There's a lot of Shark. There's a lot of state societies of association executives. You can just look it up on ChatGPT, and the trick with ChatGPT, after they give you 20, on the very bottom, just put in the query, list more, and list more till you get to all 50. And that's a great way to get into a lot of the state associations, because once they hear you, just think about it. Wouldn't it be great to go present to a couple hundred state association executive directors that can all bring you in? I mean, what's not to love? And they pay.
I always say with state associations, just like you do any other event, is you get a lobbyist or a referral, if you will, whatever you want to call it, that gets you to those state associations. It's easier than getting to the national directors sometimes of the national events. You only need one person in Rhode Island to say this person would be great for this national convention. They're a must see, and it's harder to do that if you have no connection to any of the states. It's a great way to get your foot in the door. So what are you hearing, because you're so connected to all these different associations, the CEOs that run them? What are you hearing in their industry today? What do we need to think about as speakers who are going to position ourselves to association today? Because to your point, they have to run events every year, whereas a lot of corporate will pull back. I've seen that multiple times this year, where a lot of corporations were decided to save on their fall budget and not have an event at all, but the associations plow forward either way. But they do still deal with a lot of the same type of industry problems. They've still got to put butts in seats at events and things like that. What are the things that you're hearing from the CEOs and executive directors in those spaces as to where the market is?
Okay. Here's something I think would help everybody. In Booked, there's a list of meetings industry publications. And I would encourage everybody in NSA sign up for these meeting industry, either newsletters or magazines, because you are in the meetings industry. There are articles regularly that talk about what the trends are for meetings, and what's in, what's out. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go change your topic for what's in, because some speakers do that, and it's kind of hard to sell yourself as a subject matter expert when last week you spoke on that and this week you speak on this. But I think what it helps you to do is understand, what the winds of change are creating, and then understand, okay, how do I, massage my topic to fit into, not change your topic, but massage your topic to fit into what's going on. I think that will really, and that's something, that everybody watching this can do tomorrow or today, and start getting these publications. And it just takes a minute. You don't have to read the articles in depth. Read the highlight, read the first paragraph or two, and move on. And so with that, it will help you understand, okay, what's going on? What are they looking for? And certain things, Shark, are always, associations always need marketing. They always need sales. They always need supervision. They always need HR. They don't always need AI. They do right now, but they don't always. 10, 15 years ago, the hottest thing when I was at a lot of meetings industry events was social media. Now, you get a little bit, but it's not like top of mind. DEI, that 4 years ago was top of mind. If you read most of the meetings industry magazines, it's slowed dramatically, and many of the recommendations don't have DEI sessions, have DEI within the sessions built into it, because as a number of people writing articles, people don't come to quote DEI sessions. So we have to understand what's going on. How do we shift and adjust and massage, not change? Because the associations need to, and I'm sorry to say this, everybody hates this, they have to pigeonhole us into a topic. And we have to be able to easily articulate our topic category is X: leadership, sales, marketing, so forth and so on. And again, my unique take on that is why, the unique selling proposition. Here's how I've got a special take on that. And when you're talking about that, you're usually going to catch the interest of a person. But here's the problem I keep seeing. So many speakers are just terrible at explaining the value they deliver. So many speakers are just terrible at explaining, your attendees will learn ABC and walk away with X, Y, and Z. And at the end of my talk, I'm going to take them from point A to point B, and they'll be able to do such and such. Too many speakers get focused on my talk. I'm so wonderful. I want to talk about whatever it is, because the association people, there's a little bit of entertainment being hired. They don't really care. They're not looking for content. They're looking for entertainment. And the storytellers and the humorists are going to get those slots, and good on them. But what they're looking for is, okay, let's just grab leadership. In the area of leadership, how is your talk going to help my members run their organizations better, make more money? Because why do people join associations? They join to grow their business, grow their career, grow their finances, number one. Number two, they grow to have the association help them solve their problems, regulatory, legislative, this, that, and the other. And number three, people join associations for community. So we as speakers have to address all three reasons why people join when we're talking to decision makers. Hey, I understand that your members are looking to grow their business. Here's how my program helps. I understand that your members are looking to solve problems. Here's how my program helps. I understand that your members are looking for community. Here's how my program helps. And I think that that's where we need to go. We really need to keep our focus on the what's in it for the association members sitting in the audience. And too many of us in NSA are focused on, I'm a speaker on X. I'm wonderful. Hire me. Okay, you might be wonderful, but you got to give me more reason than I'm wonderful. You got to give me the what's in it for my members, and that's where I think that there's a disconnect.
Fair point. So for those that don't know, or maybe have a different or even wrong idea of what it is, one of the things I wanted to delve into is Cigar PEG.
Okay.
You started Cigar PEG a long time ago, and it's as involved into a pretty formidable group of professional speakers. Tell people a little bit about what Cigar PEG is and what it is you do. You've also raised a ton of money to help people.
Yeah. Cigar PEG is philanthropy through fun. And yes, we started in 1999. We've evolved. We do raise quite a bit of money. And as important as raising the money, and you know, we've given like $460,000 to the NSA Foundation, and you know, and lots of money to a lot of other medical related organizations. But as important and valuable as it is to do the philanthropy, Cigar PEG is a community within the NSA community. And, you know, we have a suite at Influence. It just makes it easier to meet people. You know, when you're at a conference of 800 people, it's hard to meet people. And, you know, so many people are running here to here to here to here. And we just do stuff through the year to keep our community going. We have an every Wednesday Zoom call that all members are, you know, invited to join in on. So it's as I said, philanthropy through fun. We're rooted in earning money to give away. We're rooted in having a community of professional speakers to help them grow their community. And quite frankly, the fun part is, you know, we're a little bit rebellious. We're a little bit, you know, off the mainstream because we like to have fun. We don't take ourselves seriously. And, you know, it's, I've always joked in NSA, if you believe the press you write about yourself, you got a problem.
25 years ago, Cigar PEG started as an idea to combine networking with philanthropy. As of today, we have raised over $865,000 for charity. As we celebrate our 25th anniversary, we invite you to be part of this extraordinary legacy. Experience the power of connection, the joy of giving, and the strength of community. Raise your glass with us, and let's write the next chapter, Philanthropy Through Fun, together. cigarpeg.com/join.
You're about to have another big group at Influence in Denver. So let's do a quick recap then based on Ed's smoky advice. So number one, when positioning, find the uniqueness to an association. Answer the why as an expert and thought leader to that group. Number two, when selling to associations, Ed recommends going through the back door. Make that relationship deposit. I love that with your articles. Ed talks about supplying your thought leadership to an editor. Get them published, but that's not the long game. The long game is making that relationship deposit to help their members solve their problems. It's a great back door to the executives who decide on who the speakers are. And that's a different path than going through the front door. Have a basic script with what to say when you get there. But when you get them on the phone, ask and then shut up. Love this. Smart speakers, listen to what they say for all the direction you're going to need. Number three, when thinking of state associations versus national, it's often easier to get into the state events. And if you do it right, you get one lobbyist, one referral who's going to introduce you to the national events. The budgets may be different, but you can leverage this to other states and to the national. Leverage those resources and publications as he talked about in the book. It's great advice for anyone listening that needs to find the place to go to solve those problems. And number four, I'll just drop this in. Take a first look or even a new one at Cigar PEG. It's a great place to build community and enjoy philanthropy through fun. How does it help you? Well, when you're a part of a community, even within a community, it makes it immensely easier to gain knowledge. So find a good tribe. Ed, I'm looking forward to seeing you at Influence before we grab a nice stogie. Any closing thoughts before we go and join the community?
Sure. Shark, the one thing that I really want to stress is bypass the gatekeeper, go in the back door through the editor, and remember the key is if your article gets published, that's great. However, The most important thing and where the real money is, and my good friend Joel Block always says, draw a straight line to the money. And drawing the straight line to the money is let the editor help you get to the decision maker. I think that that's where a lot of people kind of fall down and they get too obsessive about their articles. It's draw a straight line to the money and let the editor connect you with the decision maker at that organization. And then you really know who to sell to, because Shark, I got to tell you, I spent a lot of time early in my career wasting my time, spinning my wheels, selling to people who weren't decision makers. And, one day when one meeting planner that must have been all of 18 said to me, all you speakers are a dime a dozen. As I pulled the knife out of my heart, I realized, she's right. If I didn't differentiate myself enough, if I didn't position myself as a thought leader, as a subject matter expert, yeah, she was right. We're all a dime a dozen. So I would encourage everybody, be a thought leader, be a subject matter expert, and, be proud of it. You spent a lot of time working for it. Be proud of it.
Fantastic. Friends, make sure to join us at Speakernomics.com and let your voice be heard. I am Kenneth Shark Kinney, your host of the National Speakers Association's podcast, Speakernomics, and this has been another fantastic episode of the show. Thank you, Ed, for sharing your story with NSA. And everyone listening, thank you for the privilege of your time. And remember, Speakernomics is a podcast where you'll learn to speak, get paid, repeat.
Attention all professional speakers. Are you ready to elevate your career? Join us at Influence 2024, the premier event of the National Speakers Association, happening this August 3rd through the 6th at the Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado. Connect with industry leaders, master your craft, and discover cutting-edge strategies to grow your influence and your speaking business. Now, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this event is designed for you. Now, don't miss out on this transformative experience and register now and be a part of something extraordinary. Register at influence24.nsaspeaker.org.